G'day YouTube, how the heck are we doing? It is Foul Play here. We're back for the fourth match of this Pauper League. We lost the die roll versus Charulda. Opponent is keeping, mulliganing to 5 cards here. We're going to keep this 7. It's a little dicey with a Ledge Walker, but we can turn 1 Abundant Growth, turn 2 Ledge Walker, which isn't too bad. Pretty much only bad into a Chainer's Edict deck, and as I say that, we see Bajuga Bog. This might not be Grixis, it might be like White-Black, Ephemerate. I guess time will tell. We could even potentially slow roll this till turn 3 if we draw appropriately, and we're scared of Chainer's Edict. Alright, well, we've hit the land drop, which is something. Looks like our opponent has missed on their land drop. As discussed earlier, they did mulligan to 5. I think if we play Silhana Ledgewalker, our opponent makes a land drop, there's potential to get blown out by Chainer's Edict. If we play Abundant Growth, we can potentially play around that a little bit. We're guaranteed Ledgewalker plus Cartouche Solidarity next turn, so given this is our only creature in hand, I want to be as safe as possible and not get blown out. So it looks like we dodged the blowout for that one turn. And from here on in, it's going to be smooth sailing. Our opponent, by missing land drops, didn't put us under pressure. This game was made free because of that. Opponent also concedes. Alright, so our opponent could really be on anything, and we have no information to go off of. Against black decks with Chainer's Edict, such as Grixis Affinity, I'd be looking at bringing in Young Wolf. Against a white-black Ephemerate deck, I'd be looking at bringing in Krefix's Insight. I think given we've already got the main deck protection of Cartouche of Solidarity, we look to bring in Krefix's Insight. We can probably just take out like an Ancestral Mask, maybe 1 Lotus Petal. It could be worth taking out 2 Mask there. I'm not entirely sure. Reminder guys, if you do enjoy the video or find it educational, please consider subscribing. When boarding in Krefix's Insight as well, it's depending on the matchup, it can be worth boarding out Petals. Because if we look to board out something like Cetessan Training, we reduce our hit rate on Krefix's Insight. The higher the hit rate, the better. There's nothing worse than like seeing a Lotus Petal off a Krefix's Insight and not getting to those 3 enchantments into hand. Conversely, there's some matchups where you want the speed of Lotus Petals, so it can be a bit dicey boarding them out. Opponent keeps 7 hand, and this time we're going to be the ones mulliganing. This we can keep. We have green mana, but not much else. Possible to bottom Armadillo Cloak. It's bad in some matchups. Probably not when we need it. I think this is worth a keep, even though we have to Lotus Petal into Ash Barrens. I think this is reasonable enough because we have Krefix's Insight to reload once we make our land drops. Red-black. I guess that means Affinity. Probably Grixis. Bogle and see what our opponent does. We probably don't want to like Lotus Petal Ash Barrens. Cycle here, we get white mana. Sentinel's Eyes seems pretty safe and free. I think we Lotus Petal out the Ethereal Armor now and just be as aggressive as possible. Really put that clock on. We could just be getting Dawnbringer Cleric tier though, so maybe that was a bit premature actually. Yeah, there's the Dawnbringer. Alright, so upon thinking for 2 seconds, I think the Petal should have stayed in hand, as should have the Krefix's Insight. Alright, now I'm going to attack, see if our opponent does anything funky. They probably block, but we might sneak a couple of damage. Hey look, no blocks, they're playing around Flash Auras. There are a couple of Flash Auras, both at 1 mana and 2. Both in white. Alright, so this is Mardu. So just like Mardu white value. Cool. Bouncing Dawnbringer Cleric. No! Well, thankfully we boarded these guys in. What is with all of these Bogles hitting my hand all of a sudden? Get the heck out of here. Give me mana. Give me enchantments. This is rubbish. Giving our opponent lots of time to get back into this one. Synthesizer, fine synthesizer, that's amusing. So Skyfishers can return synthesizers, which is where this combo comes in. I'm unsure what they're splashing the black mana for though. Oh, there it is. Chainer's Edict. Well, we'll get rid of Scout. We'll keep all the Bogles, right? They could also, given they've got red mana, have End the Festivities, which could be backbreaking for us. This seems pretty good. Fire it off. Wow, find one enchantment. What the hell, deck? Well, all our rubbish cards are on the bottom of the library, so we can just chill for a minute. Our opponent plays Glint Hawk. I guess the synth goes to hand. Yeah, look at that value. Here it comes. Another Glint Hawk. Wow, they get the exit effect from this? That's BS, man. No, they don't. What? I'm confused where that exiled glint came from. Bit of reunion. That's okay. We don't mind that. Attacking with this one, we'll take. This will make our creature a 4/4. We know about Dawnbringer Cleric. I don't really think we want to extend our Ancestral Mask into a Dawnbringer Cleric. Let's wait a little bit for something more favorable that does not play into our opponent's hands. And yeah, we draw another hexproof creature. You can't make this shit up, man. All right, so down to 12. At least we're up a game. Oh, opponent playing out Barbed Batterfist. Equip creature gets 1/1, gets a 2/2 token. What the heck, man? And they bounce that to hand, keeping the token. Come on, deck. Give us something of substance. We need some actual decent auras. Again, we can play out Mask. It does give us an attack for 6 this turn. It leaves us in a pretty average spot afterwards, but we could force the Dawnbringer Cleric and hope to draw something. I honestly think that we're actually forced into doing this play right now, and I'm not a fan of this. Opponent chubs with the Rebel token. We're going to see Dawnbringer taking out the Ancestral Mask, unfortunately. Hopefully we can start hitting Armadillo Cloaks, Ethereal Armors, and rebuild some substance. Maybe our other crew fixes Insight so we can actually gas our hand up properly. Opponent, Claw Wellspring off the synth. Dawnbringer Cleric now. Alright, no brainer here. Boros Garrison, and that bounces just a normal mountain. And you'd have to assume that this one is coming down now. Barbed Batterfist, you're going to let this one fizzle? That's pretty wild. Attacking for 8 in the air, that's going to put us to 4. We really need to find this Armadillo Cloak, but then this guy's kind of an issue. Alright, we'll concede. Alright, so there's a few like Mardu, Monarchs type decks, which is similar to what our opponent is doing. If there's Guild Pack Guardian, that's pretty bad news for us. That's just another thing we have to worry about. We should definitely prioritize keeping our Bogles on the board over our Glade Cover Scouts as a result. For the most part though, this doesn't look very much like what our opponent's deck was doing. This might be a bit closer. Prismatic Strands would be annoying. We just want to be quick here. Alright, so I think we take out our Lotus Petals, given it's an Ephemerate deck. We bring back in our Ancestral Mask here. We probably bring in 2 Young Wolves. Maybe we keep in the Petals for mana fixing. Actually, let's bugger off these Young Wolves and bring in Relic of Progenitus. I don't want Chainer's Edicts getting flashback in the long grindy game. This sounds very top heavy, mana light. We can draw a card with Relic to help develop our mana. That's not amazing. The auras are good though. And we do have protection from an Edict. Alright, I'm going to gamble and assume we draw well and keep this. This could definitely go pretty bad. And the correct decision might be to mulligan in that spot. I just think the upside on this hand is very, very high. Alright, well, we see a second mana source. We're getting closer to our Ancestral Mask. And we develop around Chainer's Edict, which is nice. I guess one thing we need to do is apply like early pressure, and this hand doesn't do that. Looks like they're just spending a few turns setting up though. Relic loses a little bit of value. Citizen Training off the top. Don't mind if we do. Opponent discards Cleansing Wildfire. Wow, that's a pretty interesting one. We'll attack with, well, it should have been both creatures, but we'll attack with one creature. We have Mask mana now, which is nice. Claw Wellspring from our opponent. Make them discard, make them exile. And Clan Shaman? You gotta be kidding me, man. Oh my god, we're really still playing around this garbage creature, man. Well, we should have brought in our acolytes, I suppose. Look at us go. Getting blown out by Clan Shaman still. I thought people stopped playing that card. That was not on my radars. Apologies. Question is, do we cycle Relic looking for a creature? Probably. Hey, look, more mana. Beautiful stuff. Now we lose our Relic too. This is so sad, man. Cleansing Wildfire on our Utopia Sprawl. Okay, well, at least we get a Plains, but we do lose that enchantment typing for Ancestral Mask. That doesn't seem great. Any creature will do at this point. Yeah, that's not a creature. We can only enchant our own creatures with this, so we can't target our opponent's rebel and then like enchant the mask on the warrior token. So this is pretty dicey. Good news is if we do hit a creature, our cartouche will help us out quite a lot. And I wanted Relic of Progenitors instead of Young Wolf. Look at me go. What a stupid decision, hey? Opponent just draws the other half of his deck. Yes, let's go. Bogle off the top. Beautiful stuff. All right, well, hopefully our opponent doesn't have too much interaction. Like, End the Festivities plus Chainer's Edict will get us. Dawnbringer Cleric's also pretty fucking annoying. Could this card just stop? Opponent sending in with the team. There's no way I'm blocking. We'll just take this. That's fine. We have 2 Armadillo Cloaks in hand. That's probably slightly less valuable than Mask in the long game. Plus, we need to start worrying about gaining life back. So I think we run out the Armadillo Cloak. Opponent's holding up Plains, so we could get done by Ephemerate, which would be frustrating. Another Dawnbringer Cleric. Joke's on you, opponent. There's no enchantments on the board. Look at us go now. Let's do the thing we said. Attack in, gain a little bit of life. Opponent just takes the damage. There's no reason not to. And hopefully there's no Ephemerate. I don't think we can afford to fog the Ephemerate by waiting a turn. Let's just Revoke Existence instead. Oh, this is mono like every hate card for Bogles, isn't it? No blocks, playing around Chainer's Edict still. Opponent Makeshift Munitions, that's fine. Abundant Growth off the top. We'll draw a card off that first, see what we find. Cetessan Training. Ancestral Mask gives us 3/3 to attack with. We're on like no life. We need to resolve lifelink. We need this to stick on the board as well. Opponent blocking with 1 Dawnbringer Cleric. That goes to the grave. I wonder if this means they have the Omen that returns a creature from the graveyard to hand. That would be frustrating. Really, like, this whole match has been frustrating here, though. Makeshift Munitions, 1 damage to our warrior token. Sure. So, like, our opponent can tuck in with everything and then throw 4 damage at our face as well. So I think we're just dead here. If I understand this correctly. Yep. All right, well, that's good games. Well, sort of. Not really. They sacrificed this instead of the token. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Anyway, that was a pretty rough matchup. Our opponent drew all their removal they needed and interacted pretty much perfectly with us tempo-wise every turn. So good games. Let me know how savage you thought that was in the comment section below. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Till next time, guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you then.